Hello and welcome back to a new tutorial. Thank you for stopping by. If this is your first time here, this is Everything April YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you're yet to subscribe to my channel and also give this video a thumbs up. So today's video is on how to cut and sew a wrap skirt. This is a very easy to make skirt. You can make it within minutes. So I have my fabric folded into two. I will be cutting the back part first, and I have a length of 19.5 inches. This is a very short skirt I'm making, and from the waist to the hip line is 9 inches, and I've removed 1.5 inches length from that for the band. I will be attaching a band to this skirt. On the waistline, I will impute quarter of my waist measurement. The waist I'm working with is 24 inches, so quarter of that is 6 inches, and I'm adding extra 1 inch for that and another 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then on the hip line, I would impute quarter of my hip measurement, which is 8.75 inches, and I'll add extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead and connect the points from the waistline to the hip line using a curve rule. I'm connecting from the waist to the hip as you see me demonstrate. So now on the hemline, I'm going to remove some inches from what I have on the hip line. So I'll check what I have on the hip line, and from what I have 9.75. I would remove 0.75 inch from what I have on the hip line, and I would impute 9 inches on the hemline. So I removed 0.75 because this is a short skirt. So I'll connect as you see me do, and um, practically the back part is ready. So I'm going to add that to the back part. So for the darts, I'm using my bust span measurement, and the length of the dart is 4 inches. So I'll go ahead and cut out the back part. So for the front part, I've folded a larger piece of fabric into two. Okay, and I've measured out from the folded edge. I measured out 6 inches, and I ruled on that a vertical line from that 6 inches from the top to bottom. So I measured from the folded edge 6 inches, and then from that line I ruled, I placed the back part, and I'm going to trace out what I have on the back part. Okay, so I've done that. I've traced out, and I have extra 6 inches in the front from the center front part. You can see what I have. So I'm going to remove the back part and then work on the front part. So for the front, I do not want to add that to it, so I'm going to measure out the hip line, and then from the waist part I'm going to measure out 1 inch. I'm going to cut out that 1 inch I added for that. So I'm connecting that 1 inch I measured out to the hip line. So I'll go ahead and trim that out. I do not need it. I'm not adding that to the front part. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to work on the overlap. So like I said, the extra 6 inches I added is for overlap, is for the overlapping in front. So I'm going to determine how high I want or how low I want the overlap, where I want them to overlap in front. So from the hem part, I'm going to come up by 4 inches. Okay, that's how open I want it to be at the center front, because I want them to overlap at the center front. So from that 6 inches towards the side, I'm measuring out 4 inches again. Okay, so from the up, the 4 inches up, I'm connecting to the 4 inches by the hem side as you see me do. And then from the folded edge, I'm going to connect as you see me demonstrate. I'm connecting, starting from the hip line, connecting like this. So I would have to cut this part out. So I'm checking the length I have before the overlap in front, and I think it's a bit high, so I'm going to come down by extra 1 inch. That means from the hem part I went up by 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and cut out this part. So I'll also go ahead and split open the folded edge. So this is what I have. I'm going to open them up and place them together so we can have a view of what the skirt looks like. So I'm placing them together. I'm placing the front part on top of the back part so we can see the opening we have, the overlap. Because this is a short skirt, I don't want it to be too high. So this is what it looks like. By the time I tidy up the edges, I hem the edges, I will have about, it will go up further by probably half an inch. So that is why I reduced it. I don't want it to be too up. So what I'll do now will be to sew in the darts on the back and also join the front and the back by the sides using 1 inch seam allowance I provided for that. So I'll go ahead and do all this. I'll also tidy up the edges using a bias strip. So I have joined the skirts together, the front and the back together. I've also sewn in the darts at the back, and this is what the skirt looks like at this point. So if I fold it, you see that the front part, the waist part is going inward. Let me fold it so you can see it's tilting out. Okay, so this is because the waist I'm working with for this project is very small. I'm working with a waist of 24 inches. So I'm going to fold the entire skirt into 2 equal parts. I'll make sure they are equal, and then from the front part I'm going to cut out extra 1 inch because I don't want it going over. Remember, I'm going to have a rope to tie the skirt. This is a wrap skirt, so I'm not adding any zipper. So I would go ahead and measure out 1 inch and then cut it out. I'm going to cut this 1 inch out. Okay. So I would measure and then cut out this extra 1 inch. So now that I've cut out this extra, I'm going to fold back the skirt so that we'll see what it looks like. So as you can see, it is no longer crossing over the waist part. So what I'll do now will be to tidy up the edges and the hem parts using a bias strip. So I'll use a bias strip and do that. And then after that, I'm going to attach the waistband, which will also come with the rope that I will be tied. So for the waistband, I have a band height of 4 inches because I need 3 inches on fold 1.5 inches. So the extra one is for joining to the skirt. And for the width of the band, it is 2 times what I have on the waist area, and for the waist I have 35 inches. So for the band I have a width of about 70 inches. So I'll go ahead and attach the band to the waist. So the parts I would attach to the waist, I've ironed lightweight interfacing to that part. So this part, I folded the band into 2 equal parts and then measured out from the folded part the part I need for the waist part, and then ironed interfacing to that. So that is how I ironed the interfacing to it. So I'll go ahead now and join it to the waist part. I've already measured where I need to join from. So I would start pinning the band to the skirt. So I've pinned them together. So I would first sew the first stitch. I pinned the right side of the band to the right side of the skirt. So after sewing, I'm going to flip it to the other side. As I'm demonstrating, I'll flip it to the other side, and then I'll start sewing from the extra parts, the rope part of the band that I'll have to tie. I'll fold in the edge and then sew using 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'll fold in the 1/2 inch seam allowance and sew up to the band part, and then at the band part I'm going to just top stitch. I'll fold in 1/2 inch and use it to top stitch and cover the first stitch I've made on the skirt. So that is how I'm going to attach the band, and that's basically all on how to make this wrap skirt. So I've done all that. I've hemmed the edges, I've attached the band to it. You can see what the skirt looks like. It's very beautiful and cute and very easy to make. So this is it on today's tutorial. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're yet to subscribe, and also click on the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. See you in my next video. Bye.